on realagriculture.com. Whether you're looking for information on disease, treatments, news, or trends across the nation, find it all at wheatschool.com. Sponsored by Syngenta Canada, C&M Seeds, and the Alberta Wheat Commission. We'll take you all the way from seeding to harvest to marketing. Wheatschool.com, where you go when you need to know.
And from Crystal Mackay and Farm and Food Conversations Online, we go now to Jessica Goose and Janet Krayden. She's the Stakeholder Engagement Specialist with the Canadian Agriculture Human Resource Council, and they're having a discussion on some of the farm labor issues plaguing the agriculture industry.
Hey, it's Jessica Goose here with realagriculture.com, and joining me right now is Janet Krayden, who's the Stakeholder Engagement Specialist with the Canadian Agriculture Human Resource Council. Janet, how are you doing today?
Excellent. Thank you, Jessica.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you on here. So not only with your role as a Stakeholder Engagement Specialist, you are also the lead for the Quality Agri-Workforce Management Program that rolled out last year, and it's going to be wrapping up at the end of it's QAMP for short, I believe. What exactly can you, tell us about the program, just kind of quickly, like an overall kind of review?
Yes, thanks, Jessica. So I'm very excited and proud to be leading the Quality Agri-Workforce Management Program. It's our international phase. We are working to help farmers with hiring as well as managing temporary foreign workers for the agricultural stream as well as the seasonal agricultural worker program. So these are international workers that farmers hire to fill their job vacancies when Canadians do not apply. And so I'm very proud to be involved with this, helping farmers to fill these job vacancies, which are so important because in Canada, our agriculture and agri-food system actually is contributing $111 billion to the economy per year. That's $304 million per day. This is not commonly known.
Wow.
That's more than the oil sector, and that's more than the auto sector. So what happens is when a farmer has a job vacancy, if they can fill that, the research shows, we have research from the University of Saskatchewan as well as the University of Guelph, it creates 2 to 4 Canadian permanent jobs in the value chain.
Awesome.
But
that's really good to hear.
If we can't fill the job vacancies, what happens is it does the opposite. It's huge economic loss, and in 2014 we found it was $1.5 billion annually. So we really need to help farmers fill these job vacancies so we have food to eat and so we can grow the Canadian economy and grow the agriculture sector.
Yeah, figuratively and literally.
Exactly.
So this was a 9-month program. It varied from everything from webinars, research development, some workshops. You were just recently back, I think, from your guys' tour that you went coast to coast. So whereabouts did you hit and what did you exactly talk about?
Yeah, so we've had workshops and webinars. We've had 14 from January here till March. We have been coast to coast, absolutely. We started in BC. We've also been in Red Deer recently at the Alberta Beef Industry Conference. We're at the Banff Pork Seminar in January, in Regina in February with APAS, and also we were in Portage la Prairie in Manitoba with the Keystone Agriculture Producers. We've also been out to the Atlantic 2 times. I was just out, I went from the Alberta Beef Industry Conference in Red Deer all the way out to Prince Edward Island to Charlottetown, and the week previous we had another workshop in Nova Scotia. So for today, we just held a webinar. We were going over the very strict inspection regime with the temporary foreign worker program, going through the rules as they apply to agriculture, and with 220 farmers that have signed up here from Ontario. So we're really covering the rules, and that's because farmers care about their workforce. They want to know the latest rules. They want to do the right thing. So that's why this Ag Canada project that we're working on is we're communicating that information to the farmers, the evolving rules, so that they can do the right thing, and because they want to treat their workers right.
Yeah.
And international workers are an important part of that.
Mm-hmm. So what, I guess, are some of the things that you said with that very strict kind of sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Report or standards there. With the strict standards, when it comes to integrity, what do kind of workers look for?
So the farm employers, the number one thing is that the temporary foreign worker program is a Canadian first program. So that requires mandatory advertising, and they're only allowed to use the program if a Canadian doesn't apply, and they have to be able to prove that they have a labor shortage and a job vacancy. So that is a very stringent process, and that is part of what we're explaining to farmers is what the rules are so they can find success within the evolving rules of the application process, all the way to we've collected the best practices for what to do when your workers arrive, shared with us from producers across Canada. Upon arrival, what are the things you need to do? You need to register them for workers' compensation, social insurance number, all the way to what are the kind of things to help the worker feel comfortable after arrival, things like outings, and part of building a good team workforce on your farm. So we cover the full gamut of all these things, from filling the job vacancy to how to support your international workers on a cultural basis.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of one thing that's good that you're pointing out is, unfortunately, I would say there is a little bit of a stigma around temporary foreign workers. The fact that a lot of people go, well, why wouldn't you hire Canada first? Well, that's exactly what the program is doing. You have to implement that, and you have to show that you, like you said, had the job postings, that there is a labor shortage, right?
Absolutely, and that is the number one strictest rule, is that they have to advertise. And I would also say there's another myth I hear very commonly. Farmers would use the program, or employers would use the program for cheap labor, and I'd say that's absolutely not true. From what I have seen from coast to coast, farmers are looking for people who are interested in the job, with the special skills and experience needed on the farm. And that isn't always an aspiration of the majority of Canadians today. The majority of people live in the urban centers, and on-farm jobs take place in the rural areas. So we don't have the population to draw on for these jobs. Plus, half of the work is seasonal. And so it's never going to provide a year-round job. And you just have to look at the last Canadian winter we had this year. That's what we're dealing with in Canada, and half of this work is seasonal, and you're not going to change that. But farmers are actually investing. If they cannot find a Canadian worker, they pay between $8,000 to $12,000 per worker to help support all of the obligations that are part of the temporary foreign worker program, which includes housing. Mm-hmm. So that's why this is absolutely a program of last resort for farmers, but is very much needed in order to fill the job vacancies so we can eat.
Exactly. Whereabouts, Janet, would you say that there's like a high amount of temporary foreign workers? Is that more in the horticulture side of things, or is it even divided by like east to west? Or where do you kind of see a spike in people really using the program?
Right. So the Seasonal Agriculture Worker Program is a program that's over 50 years old. It's existed because horticulture is very much intensive labor. It always has been, and they've always had a chronic labor shortage. But what we're seeing is that it's right across the board with all commodities. They're having more and more difficulties finding Canadians. So cattle feedlots, they use the program, as well as hog farms as well. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a lot of pork producers using the program because they're not getting any Canadian applicants. So then they have no choice.
Yeah.
So it's right across the board. Beekeepers as well. And so these are all more Western Canadian commodities. And it's really, you can't really differentiate. Labor is the number one risk identified by the industry today, and it's because of these shortages, which Carc has done the research. We had 7% job vacancy rate for agriculture in 2014, and we're in the midst of releasing our information in June, and we're seeing that it has, preliminary research is showing it has gone up, and we expect it to continue to go up. And with the work taking place in the rural areas and sometimes being strenuous, that is why agriculture is absolutely unique, and why they need the support of labor mobility programs like this. Mm-hmm.
And now lastly here, Janet, I guess going forward, how would somebody, learn more if they're kind of having a labor shortage? Where can they go for more information to potentially look at hiring somebody from outside of Canada?
Right, Jessica. So if people are interested in learning about quality agri-workforce management and they're having job vacancies and they would need to fill them, they can go to our website at www.carc-ccrha.ca. And this information that we're collecting, it will be in a guide, and we're going to have lots of materials that will be helpful, and it will live in our Agri-HR Toolkit, which provides all the other information you need also to help manage your Canadian workforce as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Janet. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you to Jessica